bit more difficult.
Yeah, I'm not. I've already used up my swear, so I'm not even going to take a try at the second name. John, tell everybody who you are and what you do for Star Citizen.
Hi, I'm John. I'm a level designer too, and I tend to do whatever Khan tells
Level
me. 'Cause he's my
designer
boss.
2.
What makes it a level designer 2?
Designer level 2.
Uh,
Designer
I
2
did a
level.
good enough job as level designer 1.
Level 2 designer.
Is that quantifiable? Is that on paper somewhere?
I mean,
Ooh.
obviously there are criteria for promotions.
Oh yeah, that's
and,
that's
yeah, I
another
was level
car.
designer
I
1
you know
for
another
of
style
years
of car, but
and gained enough
I am a
experience
sucker
to earn that promotion. So I'm level
for
designer 2.
pre this era.
And last,
I like these
Manuel,
two.
tell
I
everybody
like
who you
these
are
cars
and
too.
what you
They,
do for Star Citizen.
it's crazy. Where I
Hey,
live,
I'm a senior level designer.
there is
and,
like 6
yeah, last I did
Lamborghinis,
the
like 4
implementation
Ferraris
for,
in this small town I live
the
in. I
personal
mean, I'm
hangars,
north of
military
Atlanta,
hangars,
so it's not.
But you might also
But the
know
town
me
itself
from
is not
Area
big.
18 prison
But
and some
man, you
other
go
things, and
downtown
soon
Woodstock
asteroid
and
bases.
it's like
People might know you
wall to
from
wall
prison.
shiny.
Sounds
It's
like a story.
crazy.
I mean, maybe you've seen me there.
Oh, you mean?
Oh, that definitely,
Yes.
not the
No.
DeLorean.
Senior level designer,
Only because,
2.
or unless you mean the new one that's
Wait, wait, wait,
crazy
wait,
looking.
which-
Have you
which-
seen the
which
new
one?
one?
Yeah.
Like, it's
I'm
not a
just a
DeLorean.
DeLorean.
It's just the name,
Just
but
No, no.
The other way around.
give me a sec. I'm gonna.
No, not that it matters.
this
You-
out.
you guys are. I was in the Frankfurt office to film for your this episode a few weeks ago, and you guys have a very collaborative and work environment here, where you were always over at one person's desk or another person's desk, helping each other out. Even during the interviews, some of you sat next to each other during the interviews and helped each other out with the answers and stuff. So,
Here we go.
You know, I make a joke about level and everything, but you guys are clearly a very tight knit team. Plus, we did that neat ISC even earlier in the season, where we got to meet the team
Don't know
here
exactly
while
what
you were
you're
visiting
seeing.
and talk more about your work and stuff. So, just you guys have shown, I think, that you guys are all pretty like this. Maybe
Yeah,
I'm
and-
imagining it.
And unlike John,
'Cause we can listen to
I
them
only
while
do
we're
it
looking at
sometimes
this.
when Khan wants me to do.
Yeah.
That's the benefit of climbing those ranks. You can start to do your own thing.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. So
Exactly.
we've collected some questions from the backers. Let's go ahead and jump right in. These are in no particular orders. These are going to bounce. Our two main topics for this week's show are the new asteroid bases and the encounters within that are scheduled to come for the upcoming Alpha 4.0, and the new contested zones, which are the PvE kind of almost. We hesitate to use the word dungeon experience.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
kind
I'm
of
waiting for the
closest
reviews. You know what I mean?
Analogous term to other games, but it's not quite accurate.
And I
for us
kind of wish
that
their
we're on pirate
their
space stations.
logo
And then
was
we'll jump
like
into some
somehow
generic level design
DNC,
stuff.
because it would be the same
First question off the
symbol
bat
just rolling
says,
over.
What's the plan
Or
for
DUC.
all the new locations so that they do not
Duck.
end up being quote unquote boring bunkers with the same missions on a loop over and over and over again?
Yeah.
Who wants to do the honors?
I guess I do it, and starting with the asteroid base bit.
Oh, and it does have the
I mean,
gull
asteroid
wing
bases
doors
are
too.
a bit like Bunkers 2.0, more or less like a development. It's in the sense of it's a more condensed space, but we try to segment them a bit more, like in different categories in this regard, like also encounter design, like encounter asteroid bases.
Oh, I
that
got
we
kicked
have,
way out.
or that we plan
What the
for.
heck?
Covering more like sandbox missiony designs. Then we want to
Although-
have more explorative ones, and then also
Hold on, I'm
contested
gonna go
ones that
to-
tie more into the
Let's watch a
contested zone
movie, and then
experience
that's just going to
that
mess up
Khan
what
and
I'm
John are
doing.
working on.
That's fine. It can go over into chat
But yeah,
right
we try
now.
to cover more different gameplay types, more different player interests, or player interests in certain game mechanics or types. So yeah.
Can you give us an example of something? I don't want to go through every aspect of the experience. We just did an ISC on it, but can you give me an example of something that players will do in asteroid bases specifically?
I mean, if you go to one of the encounter asteroid bases, you can find bodies, you can kill X amount of guys. That's more like for the mission ones, but they will always be populated, so you don't need the mission to go there. You can just go there and check it out yourself. But these are more like the playground for missions. But you can also find other ones that are inhabited, and you can just explore and do puzzles in them. At least that's the plan going ahead.
And certain kinds of puzzles and treasures to be found.
Yes.
With contested zones, because these open areas, what's being done to avoid bottlenecks and other obvious camping spots that negatively impact the player experience?
I guess I should go for that one, John Red.
I think
Yeah,
you
so
both
we
can
are-
go.
Okay. We're looking for multiple entry points, or like establishing multiple entry points that can come from the interior, but also from the exterior of the station. So that
Trying to remember what I was
you
doing.
just don't have one bottleneck. I mean, I guess you kind of spread the options out a bit. We can't fully eliminate the possibility of this, but at least giving players the option and giving them some sense of opportunities in and around the station to enter this contested zone will definitely help it out.
Yeah, exactly. I think whenever you have an entrance into a place like this where PvP is possible, it naturally creates a bottleneck.
See how they
You
keep
have to be able
talking
to
about
enter the space,
possible,
and
not
there could be
when you
people
enter the
camping,
PvP
that
zone.
space,
You know what I
waiting
mean?
for you to
So
enter.
it
So
definitely
what we can do
they're not
as
hiding the
designers is
fact
try
that this
and
is
offer
PvE
alternate
content
as Khan said. You know, there are side
with
elevators
with the
um,
fact that it's a
there are
PvP
ways in
zone.
from the exterior
I
of the
almost
station.
wish that they would stop
So
saying
we're just trying to
PvP
provide as
content
many
and just
different
call like,
opportunities to
and
enter
this
that
is a
space so
PvP.
that
Well, I
it's
guess
more
technically the whole
difficult to,
game is
um,
PvP zone.
use those bottlenecks if
But
you
still.
are of a griefing mindset.
Yeah. What's also important is that there's like exfiltration points inside these contested zones. So if you hit a specific depth of the contested zone, you can get to a part that offers you a one-way exit that brings you to the social area. So
I don't know
back
which thing
to
is more interesting. Let me
practical
try this.
Interesting. And you're talking about things that we can do to battle or defeat the bottlenecks and stuff, the camping and stuff like this. But some aspect of that is intentional. Some aspect of that is not a bug; it's a feature. These are still intended to be PvP zones. They are intended to still have a certain level of friction. The balance in all of this is in finding the right level of friction, not eliminating all the friction altogether.
Yeah, that's a tough part of designing a
Insufficient
map
fuel.
like this. Definitely.
Yeah,
Finding the
ultimately,
right balance.
yeah, ultimately it is a PvP space, and griefing, unfortunately, you know, is something you try to
Okay, fine.
design
What am I doing?
against. But this is a kind of a whole philosophical debate we could get into about griefing versus PvP. But griefing is just PvP ultimately. At the end of the day.
We
There's
just started
technically
playing
nothing
it
wrong
like
with
last
someone
week,
finding a defensible position and using that.
and
as an
it's
advantage
me,
over
Mork,
another
and
player.
Joke are all part of this
And
game.
That aspect of being on the defensive in PvP
But
kind of
like, I think more
equation
people can
is you
jump
dealing
in.
with those
And Mork
bottlenecks
is
and
playing
those
on
camping
PC.
positions, you know, which
So
cover,
it's actually fully
do you
compatible.
use, how do you approach a room? Do you breach the room? You know, do you use
Or
like,
fully
grenades
crossplay.
to flush out a room before you enter it?
It's still got some
scouting
jank.
opportunities. And there are things we can do as designers to kind of aid that as well, with like cover placement and you know, lighting and
Ooh, what the
things
heck
like
was
that can alleviate these issues. But ultimately, you can't get rid of them, and you probably shouldn't, because ultimately this is Pyro and this is a PvP space as well as PvE.
Yeah.
So
It's
I
also
think-
part of opting in, right? It's just like
Yeah.
you want to do PvP.
Should they call it
and
PvP
then,
zone,
I
or
mean,
should
that
they
can
call
also
it
spark, like,
low
new
sec?
things. Imagine like back then in the
Like,
days
is the
when
fact that
WoW
they
Classic,
keep
right, when
calling it
Crossroads was
PvP
rated,
and PvE
and then suddenly you
sort of
try to ally with some friends, or,
like confusing the issue?
people, and just like try to push back and things. So I think that could be really interesting.
Yeah, we obviously do want to. This is not the place to do a giant griefing versus PvP discussion. We've actually done that on this.
Well, no, I meant Pyro. Like Pyro, they keep calling
but
like
ultimately,
PvE and
because I
PV
can already see
Whoa,
the
whoa, whoa.
chat now. Hi, Twitch chat. And I can already
Gosh
imagine
darn
the
it.
YouTube comments later. At
These
the end of
sentinels
the
again.
day,
Nope, this ship.
I think a baseline here is
Now
is that
the piloting
there
is
has
not
to be
necessarily like you don't have
an
to care.
alternative. There has to be a solution available to the player who's being attacked in order to turn the tables. When there's not a solution, when there's not an option
Sentinel
that's
again.
accessible to that player to continue to go on and have a good experience.
Why
continue to
am
do
I
the
in
things that they
trouble
want to
again
do,
with the sentinels?
That's when PvP turns to greed. When you take away the gameplay experience, not just make it difficult. That's PvP. but it's a fine line. And I think every we could march a parade of 500 developers in front of this camera. You'd probably hear a solid 400 different answers about what that is. So for those of you who are already working up your YouTube videos and stuff saying CIG says this or CIG says that, that's not what's happening.
Almost figured it out.
Hearing a couple people express some individual opinions on what the difference is, and again, I promise if you brought 400 people in,
Like all you have to do is hold left trigger and it follows whatever it is you're locked onto.
It's about our job here in this situation. Right?
But I'm sure on a PC you could do way better.
Our job in those situations is to find alternatives for the players who are suffering at the hands of PvP. Find ways that they can counter it, provide ways that they can counter it, provide alternatives that still provide the same experience, other places where they can go, other things like turrets and things like
I keep getting in trouble with Sentinels, and I don't know why.
To find the things that can help. When
I don't know what I'm destroying that's causing Sentinels to come after me. Unless I've got something illegal. I may have something illegal on my ship.
Over and over and over again. That's where there's a problem. So, I said some friction is easy, but it's all about finding. We're talking about contested zones and asteroid bases. How widely spread are these contested zones and asteroid bases around the Pyro system? Pyro system is pretty darn big. So what are we talking about as far as how far these are spread?
So currently we're planning for about 5 contested zones, and these are in a few stations, all pretty evenly spread along the Pyro system. Some of them being in very specific places that are only be able to be accessed once you progress to a specific stage, or once you have actually gained a couple items, you can get to that location and unlock the interior, basically. So multiple contested zones might not be immediately accessible to the player. There's some that will require you to complete others to then find the keys to others, basically. Or to
I need some friggin' shield juice.
Contested zone, so it's a mix and match a bit.
Is there anything intended or planned that would start you in one contested zone and make you go to another contested zone to finish or complete?
Here's the thing I was talking about.
Or
Yeah, that's... Sorry.
I said, or are they just contained experiences within each one?
So John can explain this a bit better after me, but the intention is that we have contested zones, or we give certain categorization to certain branches or sections of contested zones. So we have a short-term kind of branch, for example, we have a mid-term and a long-term one. And in the long term, it is a requirement.
I was going in a direction.
Specific ingredients in other places to be able to access
okay, so
that
let's
long-term
see.
branch, right? And whilst short-term
Cool.
or mid-term ones are there to complete the dungeon itself, or basically go in there, do some farm runs or loot runs. Yeah.
Gotcha. So there's not going to be too much advantage to just holding up in one. You're not going to be able to complete the ultimate objectives of these contested zones by just staying put in one place and
that
holding it
won't work.
forever. Okay.
You have to go to multiple of them and progress.
Yeah, you might do it to take away somebody else's enjoyment, but you won't gain anything as far as the progression for your character and stuff by doing so.
Yeah.
Okay, with asteroid bases, will there be asteroid bases without enemy NPCs or non-violent gameplay as well? For example, scavenging, environmental puzzles, rescue missions, finding missing people. Is there something to do in asteroid bases for players who just want to bring peace to the galaxy?
I'm not sure about peace, but yes, certainly. The current intention and goal we have in developing these is, like, as previously touched on a bit before us, the encounter ones are solely the sandbox environment for the whole mission stuff. So people who want to engage in missions and want to engage in combat and do these things. But I also want to have
I
this,
went
like,
to the
more
wrong
safer
side.
spaces. I mean, you can't prevent PvP from happening, obviously, but the exploration ones are more dedicated to solving puzzles and finding like rewards by entering rooms that are.
I forget how to go into third person on the ships.
Enterprise, like you have to do some things, hack it, not hack it, but find means around the space and then get more like higher rewards in there. So yes, that's like
there
no NPCs and anything is planned in there.
Manuel, can you give me a big like heroic pose, something like this, real quick? There you go. Everybody, screenshot that and with the words "I don't know about these" underneath that. I'd like to see that on there.
So these have changed a lot.
Are there plans, or does the tool set allow for the creation of non-derelict asteroid bases, whether functional or productive? Like, could they be seen in a system like Stanton, but is abandoned, or inhabited? The mooring. Oh, dude, they're going way into the lore. The mooring, like Nyx. So basically, can we make asteroid bases that aren't just run down, beat up, abandoned places? Is what they're asking.
I mean, yes. The whole concept of asteroid bases is quite expandable and it has lots of potential because it's a very small scale and
Wiring
doesn't need
loom.
that much.
Those things are
development
expensive.
time, like a big flagship location. It's not for the initial release right now, so we are focusing more on the free archetypes that we are currently looking into. But there's certainly a lot of potential and stuff we would like to do going forward in the future and expanding.
Actually, I should show you guys something crazy in a minute. I want to fix my
One
ship
thing
though.
that when we
Was it
prototyped
needed?
these, one aspect that we envisioned
Cadmium.
was for refueling. Like, instead of needing a large station, you could have these asteroid bases like strategically placed around where you could, for example, refuel, rearm. So we definitely envision this as an expandable feature. But
I still really haven't left the
to.
star system I started
ISC
in, by the way.
Just yesterday, which was about the more social aspects, not the combat stuff. But
Ew,
we mentioned that
it's cost my entire
the
bit.
Pyro system is
Okay,
so
let me
much
see if I can
bigger
sell
than
any of that
Stanton,
gold and
that
stuff.
The distances between planets are such that
That's what I
having to
got,
strategically
174
figure out where you can stop and
Atlantidium.
refuel along the way just to get to the outer ends of the solar system is a important part, and that's what you just mentioned is a great
I need projectile
kind
ammo
of
too.
follow-up thing. I mean, obviously we've been adding to the Stanton system for years and years and years. We'll continue to add to the Pyro system after the release of 4.0. And
Okay, one of the
that's
big things they
an easy
changed
consideration.
is now there's
You know,
fast
well,
travel.
Maybe there's an asteroid base gas station there, and that'll help deal with a stress point along that travel route and stuff.
Well,
Yeah,
let's
I
go
think
see
that's
what the
more interesting
pirates
as
have
well,
to say.
You know, we have these gigantic stations.
Not gonna be able to fix that
when
thing.
you travel down the motorway in the middle of nowhere, you hit a little gas station. And I think there's some fun there, there's some different kind of style and aesthetic we could use, a different experience than having to go into a station and everything that comes with that.
Yeah. Okay. What else we got? Let's go back to contested zones for a little bit. We talked a little bit about this with sometimes you have the direct route out, but I'm willing to bet there's more here. How will we be able to extract something from the contested zones if people spawn right next to it
changing
and are back
targets.
in 1
That's
to
not
2
what I wanted.
minutes
I wanted
after we
this.
kill them? It sounds super annoying to deal with.
So we obviously have considered that, and
Have you?
Oh.
I'd like to hope so. So the way that the contested zones is, by design, the deeper you go, the better rewards there are to find. And if, for example, you encountered a PvP situation, or you yourself were killed by a PvE encounter, getting back to where you were is not so straightforward. It's not just a case of a 1-2 minute run in. If you were, deep within the contested zone. Not to mention that, you'd have to rearm yourself. I mean, you could run in with your.
I don't know what I get to do with this.
A pistol. But will you be able to successfully get back to your body if you don't equip yourself well? And similarly, if in a PvP situation, if you kill someone, you succeed at PvP, you take their stuff, are they going to pop up a minute later? I doubt it. Within the contested zone, not only are there traps.
I have no idea what I can do with this.
Lots of PvE enemies that will be respawning. So even if you cleared out and your path behind you, they're going to be respawning in like you would see in a typical dungeon. You also have exfiltration routes available to you, as Khan said earlier. So, you could decide that that person might be coming back for you again. They might turn up, in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. They might bring friends. Now's my time to get out. I'm going to head for that exfiltration route, leave, get back to the social space, and take my loot home. This is something that we obviously want to see play out. We want to see how players, in testing.
I'm assuming this is. I'm going to be attacked or something.
I think the design.
Oh, it's on the planet.
Will hopefully avoid that.
Someone in the chat asked if there was a Lightsmith. Asked will there be multiple ways in and out? Yes, we mentioned that earlier in the show. Lightsmith, you can watch the replay up on YouTube if you missed that earlier information. You keep mentioning traps, and this was even during the the filming for the last ISC. Every time you say traps, I keep imagining like a classic Dungeons and Dragons mimic, like a thing that looks like a treasure chest, looks like an item box, and then it explodes and sprays gas at you and kills you. I mean, I don't know if we've got time to squeeze it in, but would you guys, for me, consider some explosive item boxes that look like, oh look, there's loot in there?
I think I can speak for everyone when I say that we would love to develop a whole range of traps and hazards. We are implementing ones that we have currently, like trip mines, explosive canisters, hazard zones, radiation, fire. But a mimic chest would be amazing.
Yeah, it can't just be. There's nothing you can do about it. Like you got to be able to scan it. There's got to be a way to detect it and stuff and avoid it. You can't just be random. Oh well, I did nothing and blew myself up. But for the people who are in too big a hurry and don't do the due diligence, those people deserve to have a box blow up in their face. Is what I'm saying.
I mean, hey, maybe it's like a weird alien creature, right? And it's taking on the form of a chest.
I was about to say like, yes, have a face hugger, right?
Yep.
Implement something in you, and then you die in the next one trying to loot your body. Suddenly it bursts open.
Dave, what do you think the over/under are that I can convince Damon DeVoe to create a mimic? Like an actual creature. Maybe, okay. All right. I'm not gonna say it's gonna happen, but it's now my new mission in life, and I don't care about the show, so I'm just gonna go do that. Bye.
Thank you.
What group sizes are contested zones designed around?
Yeah. We definitely, you can do it solo, but we wouldn't recommend that. Like John just said earlier, these are pretty PvP, PvE-centric spaces. Even if you're where there were no
they also
players,
did this
in your vicinity, you'll still face quite the challenge. So our recommendation is to at least go with one friend. We are currently in.
So you can now. I don't know how long that's been in, but that is super convenient.
We are going in by 5-player groups with a recent test also involving another group. So.
Oh man.
Yeah,
man.
Seeing it to be able to scale up to.
Stupid eggs around here.
Now,
oh,
you said
that's not what I meant to do.
You said they can be
I meant to do this one.
Anybody ever actually? Are you talking about like technically, like the way that the inside of a ship can technically catch fire if the temperature outside is hot enough? You're saying it can technically be done, or has there actually been somebody through testing that has managed to just run through the whole thing by themselves?
Did anyone? I don't think I did. Did you, John?
It's difficult. Initially, in the earlier sections, I think it's doable. It's if you're good enough, it's manageable. But we do scale up, like the enemies, the deeper you get, and the intention is that you might need to bring some help.
Sometimes if the AI is broken, you can do it.
Yeah, bad server maybe.
A combination of letters and numbers followed by Ages Inquisitor in the chat says, this cannot be live. It's way too professional. What effing show are you watching?
I appreciate the compliments.
Thank you,
Yeah, thank you.
I feel like I'm a nervous mess right now. Okay.
Obviously, we knew that message was going to be sent, and we responded because this is recorded.
John, is that John? John, is that your mom? Aegis Inquisitor, your mom? Will asteroid bases appear as quantum markers always, or as exploration mission?
Deploy a ticket from inventory.
No, it's they will be always there, always present for you. As said, you can also go to them if there's no mission running, even the mission sandboxy ones, the encounter asteroid bases. You can travel there without requiring a mission. There will be AI population regardless. It's the mission stuff will add on top of that, but all of them you can see from the get-go. There might be plans for the future.
That's what I wanted to get at. That's certain. You're speaking about how it is in 4.0. In our initial release, anybody that can remember the initial release of the PU, the stand system, back in late November, early December 2015, and you look at that version of the stand system versus the version of the stand system you have now, obviously these things change, these things grow over time. Pyro will be no different.
It's weird. They made it so that only one of these has stuff in it usually.
Star system after star system after that, our intention is never to
is this
abandon
one?
the
Oh
previous
yay,
one.
they
There
did
are new
something
stuff
where I
coming
actually
to
have more
Stanton
stuff.
in 4.0. We haven't gotten to talking about that yet, but it'll be on ISC in a couple weeks. But 4.0 isn't just all Pyro and we forget Stanton.
Okay, so previously it's been
we're talking
nothing
about
in the second
Pyro
one.
as it is in 4.0.
But then again, there's also not a
the,
crash vehicle out here.
Obviously, as we continue
Okay,
to introduce
so
more exploration-based ships, everybody knows the Zeus is on the public roadmap coming up here in a future release. One of the variants for that is an exploration-based stuff. People here are very keen to start developing exploration-based stuff, like discovering transient jump points, finding an asteroid base, or maybe even a derelict space station that nobody's found before and stuff like this. Those stuff will become more prevalent as the footprint gets larger. The footprint of the game gets larger and larger, and we're all very excited to do that. So not in 4.0, but
no, not yet.
I don't have to
But
be
we
there
have
anymore, so I
lots of
just
ideas
activated
internally,
those suckers.
and we really would love to expand
Yeah,
them,
it's like waves of them too.
things.
another asteroid base question. So we mentioned that some of the asteroid bases had copians inside. Are these placeholders later to be replaced by more fitting creatures? Oh, this person's calling you out.
Oh,
Apparently they
actually,
don't agree copians should be in asteroid bases. Thoughts?
I think they can make narrative sense in there, right? You can have domesticized copians, right? They bring with them. As far as I know, right?
Oh, okay.
We have like
Yeah,
variants.
we
already
actually have a
works.
domesticated variant, yeah. Pet
Yes.
copian, basically.
They just look feral right now, so that will be like more fitting looking. But I don't think it's a far stretch that they can like narratively be around there. But yeah, I mean, if we have like more fitting creatures as well in the future, that's it. But for now, it's like what we have, what we are working with, right? Is human NPCs and then the copians. So we try to utilize what we have to create more variety and like more interesting combat with the ingredients that we have.
Yeah.
Manuel voiced interest to have a space cow in an asteroid base.
Oh yes.
A rotting planet.
We don't
Activated
really talk
copper.
about it
I need
for the
activated
rest of
copper.
this season, but the domesticated copians are one of the new aspects that are coming online with 4.0. These are domesticated for NPCs and stuff. We're not stealthily adding pet gameplay to players just yet.
No, yeah, they're attack dogs essentially. We have them in contested zones, and the kind of the narrative idea is that they have been breeding them and training them, and they will attack you. So, as you engage a group of outlaws, there could be a couple of attack copians that they have that are charging at you, which I think provides.
Oh, that's
really
what's going on,
interesting kind
okay.
of gameplay dynamic. You're not just dealing with human menus now. You also have these fast-moving, low creatures that are attacking rankles, and that's a whole new aspect to combat.
And the process of developing copians that react to NPCs. There are entities that they don't attack, that are friendly to them, that can issue commands and stuff. This is all a step closer to what I could already see some of you we're already thinking pet player ownership of stuff. It's not to say that you'll be able to own a copian specifically. It's not to say that you don't. It's to say I don't know the answer, but I know that there has not been a week in the last 3 months where I haven't heard either CR or Rich mention something about we got to get pets in there and stuff. So this is the next step towards that.
But yeah, I mean, to go back to what Manuel said, I think as he said, I think we can narratively explain why there are copians on the abandoned asteroid bases. I think it would be a shame to remove them just to lessen the encounter variety. And I definitely agree that it would be cool to get those creatures, like the mimic facehugger chest we talked about. These kind of alien creatures that you would expect to see on asteroid bases in the future would be amazing. But for now, I think they do offer something useful.
Yeah, I said nothing about facehugger. That was all you.
Nope, that's you.
I just wanted a little chest that kills people. I didn't say anything about it.
Has to hug your face.
So
He wanted a chest burster,
That's what they do, right?
not a face hugger.
All right, next question. Will some contestants
My first time
vary
here.
in terms of difficulty and overall loot?
Pirate
For instance,
King.
one station having relatively fewer enemies and loot compared to another, with an abundance of heavily armored enemies and very valuable loot.
Yes, we are alternating some of this based on the contested zone you're in. We also have a very specific one, which we call the
They also
pursuit,
apparently
but
don't
we don't
have.
want to spoil that yet. But at the same time, so for us, what is really important when it comes to the reward stuff is that things are actually substantial and unique. What we put in there has to not be widely available, right? So, and that's the thing that we want to really balance out with the rest of the universe to make it worthwhile and to balance it also out between the contested zones themselves.
Yeah, one of the, I think anybody who's played Star Citizen for a while knows that one of the, I'm just going to call it weird. It was one of the weird limitations of the mission system and the game itself was the inability to distribute rewards, in-game rewards to players. It's one of those things that somehow with the development of everything else and whatnot, it was just always a we'll get to it, we'll get to it, and we just never seem to get to it. In 4.0 and beyond, a big chunk of the mission feature team, stuff like this.
I like the
been going to developing to adding that functionality.
The ship
so that
as
now
the
you saw
shop.
Ship
shop.
Operation Overdrive and stuff. And there are things you can do in game and now get rewarded for an item in game. So that kind of technology expands. And
Taking this
continues
guy's
into
weed.
asteroid bases, into contested zones, and into things like a Ghost Arena that we're not going to talk about, stuff like that. So
Nip
you're going to
nip
see
buds.
more and more unique things that are rewarded to you through playing the game as development continues to 4.0 and beyond and stuff like that. And that's really exciting because I think if I can speak, normally I'm speaking for the devs, but if I can speak for the fans for a while, I think this sense of progression, the sense of I'm doing things and I'm earning things that I can't get anywhere else. It's like this has been missing from the game for a little while. So it's one of the more exciting aspects to me of 4.0 is this work that we're talking about today, the contested zones and the asteroid bases, because to me, this seems like the birth of the very beginnings, the birth of actual player progression to something greater. And I'm really excited about that. So I hope that's coming across in the IC. If it's not, I'm sorry I tried.
Oh, there is a teleporter.
Next question.
Woo!
What's the ghost thing? Stop being a weenie. Just tell us.
The ghost thing?
The ghost.
The supernatural
what's it called?
elements.
What's it called?
Ghost Arena.
Ghost Arena.
Oh, that one.
So I don't want to use it
Yes.
just yet.
How should I describe
Well, I
it?
could put some stuff out that
You know
they
running that?
attacked me about.
Okay, that's all. That's enough. That's enough. Cool. I love it. Do contested zones have one main objective, or are there different areas with things to gain from each of them?
Okay,
Yes.
there is
So this
land
ties
here.
into,
Okay.
what Khan was just saying in terms of progression and rewards. On the kind of smaller scale of a singular contested zone, we do also have a bit of variety in what you can do and your goals. We kind of have broken it into 3 areas. So you have like a short-term goal where you just want to go into a contested zone, you just want to get some loot, kill some enemies, and get out. And that's kind of one quick playstyle we're looking at. A second one is that maybe you want to complete the entire contested zone, so get to the final reward room, complete the entire thing, and that takes a little bit more effort and maybe coordination and maybe some help. For example, like we have these security doors that require keys, specific keys that you'll have to find from within the dungeon. to be able to progress into the deeper parts. So that's kind of the second playstyle that we're envisioning.
I land
And the
so
third
hard
one
in this
is,
game.
As Khan said, this overall progression where you now have to engage
Whoa!
with multiple contested zones with asteroid bases and
Oh!
and all the rewards are scaled to kind of those.
Eat your heart out,
units that
Star
are
Citizen.
Involved in each of those.
Mopsphere in the chat says, I want to know because I want to marry that sandworm. You know, Mopsphere,
Oh man,
if
I
you
gotta go back up there.
believe in yourself and you work hard, all things are possible.
Did you see the worm?
Except that. Will asteroid bases have any enclosed docks that would handle a capital class ship? For example, a capital class hangar with atmosphere, but with an enclosed zero gravity space. But this is a really specific question. Will you make this very specific thing for this very specific person?
So I probably have to disappoint you in this regard. So the initial set of asteroid bases we are putting out, right? We don't do social spaces, so there's no official landing, so no hangars or landing pads services whatsoever, right? So that will come down later down the line. And even then, if we add the more smaller social spaces like gas stations and so on, it's probably more to serve smaller, medium-sized ships, probably not the big capital-sized ships. We might have docking tubes at some of them later on, so that could be your only access point if that's supported for your ship, but probably not. I mean, if you buy in the ship, right, like then you have certain stations available to you. That's the fantasy, right? So.
Yeah. During the ISC, let's back up. Over the course of the development of this game, we've seen a lot of procedural tools done. The Rastar and stuff that can generate certain layouts for different space stations and everything. In the ISC, we specifically mentioned that the asteroid bases were not procedural. Can you talk to us about why that change was made? Why are the asteroid bases created bespoke? There's that word. There's actually an appropriate reason to use that word there, people. So, you can drink if you want to. Why did we do these by hand instead of using the procedural tools?
I think there's always a balance to be had with how much you do stuff procedural versus how much you want to control the general flow of things. So we're talking like procedural, like in our terms, is used to be a lot like you stitch a room one by one together based on kind of some parameters and logic. But that kind of eliminates our ability to handcraft an experience that flows throughout the multi-room setup, right? So what we're looking at right now instead is hand stitching certain sections together that can combine into kind of like a gameplay bubble, and then utilizing multiple gameplay bubbles that we can then stitch together with this procedural tool, right? So we have a bit more control on the scale of things that is a bit larger than just a room, but accommodates for multiple rooms basically.
And that's in line with things we've said before. I mean, there are other games out there who very famously everything is procedural, and some of the struggle of
wonder what they're talking
is
about.
that nothing is really unique because of that. And no, I'm not talking about the one you're obviously thinking. I'm talking about another one that's older, back from like 2017, 2018. We've always said that we use procedural generation as a tool, not an ends. We use it to help us move forward. We use it to help us flesh out, but as not just the sole creation of a thing. Because we have, and I think if we've demonstrated anything in the 11 years that ISC ATV and everything's been around and stuff like this, is that we have an incredible team of artists. Not just the 3D artists, the 2D artists, the tech artists, the animators. There's all kinds of stuff that gets us the look and feel that we have, and we're never going
I have no idea what
I
it was
can't see
mad at me
us
about,
ever
unless
fully
it's
handing
just
that
anything
over to
like me. Oh,
procedural generation.
the planet might
generative
actually be
AI,
super
anything
protected.
else. We might use these things as tools again to help flesh out the other areas once we've
I
designed
need to
the critical
fly
path
around
and the second
because this
critical
doesn't
path
have
and the
what
third
I
critical
need.
path, and just using it to flesh out some stuff, as you said. But that's been a hallmark. That's been what we've been saying about procedural tools from the very beginning. So it's nice to see that it's, or hear anyway, that it's still the case. Will we be able to manipulate the environment of contested zones, like turn on and off gravity, life support, turrets, doors, stuff like that?
Not right now from the get-go, right? It's something that can become more interesting once resource network hits. So yeah, not initially. Though that said, we have doors with keycards. So there's
And fuses.
And fuses. So there's some elements where you can already manipulate, but I guess what players might have more in mind, these systems that you can manipulate, like power resources and all these things. We'd really love to implement them once we have the systems available to us.
Now, you said something there, and I want to make sure that we get some clarity on that. At this moment, the moment that we're recording, what day is this? Friday. What's the date? As of Friday, August 16th, Resource Network is scheduled for release in 4.0. These
That's
things
a
are
lot of
scheduled for release in
freaking
4.0.
sentinels.
When Manuel says when that stuff is in, when that stuff's ready, he means when it's up and running and
What was
functional
that?
for him to use.
So many
utilize
weird
it in
things.
the design of this experience, because these experiences are being developed concurrently, and so like this, we can't have them sitting around can't have asteroid bases sitting around waiting for work on Resource Network to come along. So the first version will use little pieces of it, like you said, the key cards and the fuses and stuff like that. But as things progress, 4 point whatever after that, it's like this. Then as the feature hardens and gets more developed and stuff, we'll be able to utilize more and more aspects of that. You've already seen, if you watched ISC yesterday, some of the locations teams are already using aspects of the Resource Network system for their charge and drain stuff, and for the different homesteads and habitats. It's like that. So it's just a question of, do we want to wait, or do we want to put out a first version that can do all of these other things?
Oh my goodness, look at that toxic. Woo!
Exactly. I think it would be, or like we all think it would be a shame holding on with the asteroid bases and contested zones. This is already a playable content that works without the resource network already, right? So it's like, why wait? Get it out in the hands of players, have them play, and also getting feedback, right, and see like how players engage with the environment, and how we can improve upon that. And then we already have also ideas like how we can implement or like add in the future once the systems are more refined.
Eagle 6. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to add on a little bit as well. I think it's worth adding that we have definitely viewed the contested zone asteroid bases a little differently to past things we've put out. We want these locations to kind of stand alone, like as themselves. Be a bit more sandboxy and have more interactable elements in them. And the resource network that will eventually come is a part of that. But things like the key cards and the security doors and traps and we're trying to push more of that into the environment to make them kind of be more standalone and exist as a space that you can interact with and have gameplay in.
I was going to say, Eagle 6 Airsoft says it's not ISC Live without 20 disclaimers. It's not ISC Live at all. But yeah, no, there's lots of disclaimers, because I've been doing this for 10 years, and there's nothing there, honest to God.
Interesting. That'll get me shot.
The worst thing in my entire life. Yeah, I'm not going to qualify that. It is the worst thing in my life. Is watching somebody take something from one of my programs and misunderstand it. Not maliciously. Not the people who twist things because they're looking for clicks or whatever. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the good. The
oh
good
my
people
goodness, I
who
can't see
simply
shit.
Heard something and took it a certain way, and that's not the way it's going to be. And then I watch that person get excited. I watch that person get excited, and I watch that person get hyped. I watch that person get so hopeful for a thing that's not actually going to happen the way that they think we said it, because we didn't take 10, 15, 20 seconds to clarify it, to disclaimer it. So yeah, there are about 20 or so disclaimers and clarifications on SCL every week. And that's part of my responsibility, not just to you, but to the developers, to make sure that the things that they say are properly understood and in the proper context. And if I didn't, there'd probably be 3 more people in the chat jumping on me for not clarifying. So I'll take the hit. I'll take the little hit for, oh, there's too many disclaimers and whatnot, because ultimately the alternative's far worse. All right. We've been sort of dancing around this, and I don't know how much we're going to be able to get into it. But I'm going to go ahead and
toxic stuff isn't showing up.
What kind of rewards are there from the contested zones? Is there a shared PvP mission item to recover, or are there loot small enough to carry in a backpack, for example? Obviously, we don't want to spoil everything. We still want some level of discovery, but as much as you can share, what are people working towards in a contested zone?
I guess I can give some examples. So, for the first part, what kind of rewards you're gonna get is, our first step is to make things unavailable, like widely unavailable, something that you just can't not get from the shops in Stanton or in Pyro. It has to be something that is only be retrievable right here. And what we're looking at right now, after talking with system design about it and other people,
storm's over, yay.
is that ship components are one of the big steps like that. Like military, stealth class, or even competition class ship components will be made exclusive in some capacity, certain parts of it, and only be widely available, or
certain variants of them.
Yeah. Exclusively available in reward rooms or in the final, let's call it the grand prize.
Yeah. I'm going to stop you there. That's plenty. We don't want to share everything, but yes, I'm taking next week off, and then I'm in Germany the following week to film with Torsten and the gang there about resource networking, and one of the neat talking points, and I think I feel like I actually said this last week, but I'll say it this week too. You might remember an old series of articles that John Crew and I wrote back when I was a community manager, 2016, 2017. I've been a community manager in 5 or 6 years. But back then we wrote a series of articles for the website called The Shipyard, where we broke down basically the overall plan for how ships are supposed to work. And one of the things we talked about there was the classifications of materials, not just in quality, but in type, military, competition, luxury, stuff like that. So along with Resource Network, and I'm not going to go into it too much here because we've got the episode coming, is the beginning of that realization of multiple ship components that are actually tuned to different abilities and tuned to different performance thresholds and stuff. So after 4.0 is where the world of, okay, my M50 behaves like this, but I'm going to rip this out, I'm going to rip this out, and I'm going to go do a contested zone, I'm going to get this, I'm going to pop that in, I'm going to go to an asteroid base and get this, I'm going to pop that in, and now my M50 behaves differently than the stock thing that comes off the market. 4.0 is where the start of that begins to happen, and I'm, like I said, as the co-author of the Shipyard articles with John Crew so many years ago, it's one of those things that I've been waiting, which is why you brought it up, so I'm gonna excited about it. All right.
I hope I didn't spoil too much.
Nope, that was just enough. That was just enough. You did good, Colin. Tell us everything else. I'm just kidding.
Hey, I needed that for my ship.
Well, yeah, to the second part of the question about how we extracted freight elevators. It's not just going to be backpacks or something that you can carry, right? There's going to be freight elevators inside this zone.
Dang, I need
positioned
more.
in a way where you can extract certain things in a more efficient manner.
Corn 44's TV says, say it again, I wasn't listening.
Sorry?
Nothing, I'm just...
Oh, okay.
Sometimes I appreciate a solid low-level troll. Are asteroid bases, as gameplay locations, a precursor in test for player-owned asteroid bases, or are there no connections to be drawn? Careful. Manual.
No, not yet, at least at the moment. So they're currently designed as purely focused for gameplay and content, first and foremost.
Yes. That is all they're intended for at this time. Watch this.
I get to learn a
It's actually not
word.
bases.
I love learning words.
I shouldn't have even tied those two together. That's not fair to tie those two together, but you should watch this. How do you envision contested zones evolving over time to prevent them from becoming static content?
But yeah, totally. I mean, it's a live game, so we will continuously update these places with anything, any new items that might be popping up, any new systems. I mean, we have to maintain, we are constantly, as level designers, going back to old locations and giving them an upgrade when some change to a system comes up, right? So the same would apply here for the contested zones as well.
Right. As something like Pet Copions does become available to players and stuff like that, we'll have to revisit the balance of that. Not as the light amplification scopes that are scheduled to arrive in 4.0 stuff. I'm sure that had to change a couple things. With we thought that was a dark corner. Not anymore. Stuff like that. So yeah. So it's you make a really great point, Con. I'm grateful that you brought it up. It's every time a new gameplay system comes online and stuff like that, there's always something that has to get revisited and has to be reiterated upon in order to incorporate that stuff in. And these will be no different.
Woo! Yep. I can finally fix my ship.
Will contested zones have any time pressures that player must manage, or can players just take their time?
There's going to be time pressures.
Okay, chromatic metal. It's the
locations
freaking.
even have timed gates.
This stuff here
So
is crazy.
during
Wiring
these timers,
looms
we
are
attract
80,000
players
each.
to be there. Other times, certain things will be locked, so there's no point in going there. So yeah, there's going to be timed gates. The other added pressure is just the population that exists there, right? Like you won't be able to fully eliminate the static AI population or the traps that just exist in this space. So there's a physical pressure, and then there's also the other side
Cadmium.
with timed gates.
Yeah, that kind of ties back to early discussions about PvP and camping as well. That we want the PvE environment to be constantly pushing against the players as well. So
Yes,
this
is technically why I needed to be here.
And try and stay there.
I'm just going to go up
see if
now.
you can loot it again later, but we would then want the environment to be pushing back on you for respawning enemies, patrolling enemies. To really not allow that.
I was looking at this. You said time, and I just had terrible flashbacks. I was at Blizzard when we did the Gates of Encourage, and this time, the first timed event, and told everybody in Azeroth to go to one place the exact same time, and what that did to performance and stuff like this. This isn't going to be the same thing, right? A timed event, and suddenly we're going to make everybody go to one of 5 places, or
It will be a bit more loose than that.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they said these
Yes, I still
contested
have
zones
that.
are always going to
20
be on.
years ago. Oh my
So
God, it's 20 years ago. Well, it's 19 since I'm Tex Lulu says, Jared's
I'm
in a
supposed to interview
studio,
more
the others
people,
aren't
apparently.
working. I'm not in a studio. I'm in outer space. See? I'm in outer space. No, the other guys are in Germany, and it's not very cost effective to fly 3 people over here just doing the hour-long show. We do try not to spend money where we don't have to.
I want that too. Why don't we have cool props?
I could tell you, but the answer would not make you happy.
True. Actually, you were in Manchester recently, Manuel. You should have, grabbed a couple, right?
unlockable
I mean-
hood.
I'm not sure if Jared counted all his helmets, right?
Okay.
For both asteroid bases and contested zones, we're almost out of time. How varied will they be from base to base? 6.
Sorry.
I said, for asteroid bases and contested zones, how varied are they? We know there's about 5 of this and whatever this. Are they substantially different? Are they variations on a theme? What are we talking about as far as variation?
For asteroid
I
bases,
feel like
we're
the
talking right now, we're
is an
working on
easy
3
one.
varieties. So, like Manuel mentioned earlier, we got the encounter variant, we got a more explorative variant, which has a lot more like
Must have
different
all the
abandoned theme
words.
to it. And then we got kind of the contested zone.
Death.
It's not specifically contested zone, but it is a location that ties to the overall progression that we are planning for.
Okay. And last question. We mentioned this is lots of MMOs going back to the end of the beginning of time here, and make no mistake, Star Citizen is an MMO. You know, our single player experience is Squadron 42, or the persistent universe is our multiplayer experience. That's not to say that there isn't a way to make your living as a solo player, but I mean, the overwhelming majority of the game is designed for a multiplayer experience. That's why we have a single player and a multiplayer. Where was I going with this? Oh, for a lot of MMOs, dungeons are normal occurrence. Everything has some area that counts as their dungeon. Some they go in here. There's an entrance. There's a progression through. There's mobs to fight. There's an occasional boss. We talked a little bit about your desire for boss fights, John, when we filmed ISC. This last question says, what lessons, if any, from other games have informed your approach to creating what is our first version of that kind of experience with asteroid bases and contested zones?
Horrific
What
flesh
have you learned from
helmet.
other games?
Man,
So when we first started looking into this and we were in kind of
Painted
pre-production,
metal.
we obviously looked at all current MMO, dungeons. I think between the level designers, we've kind of played a lot of them. So, WoW, Final Fantasy 14, all the obvious ones. And we obviously looked into the dungeons and how we could apply what they have to what we tried. And we did originally
Clearance
kind of
not
internally
granted.
call
What's
them
that
open
mean?
Dungeons. And
What
the
do I
idea
need to
was
do?
to have a kind of traditional experience of, the start and end. It gets harder the deeper you get. There are packs of enemies. But because we are Star Citizen and we are a unique in that, these are open.
How do I gain?
We kind of looked more to the old school MMOs for a bit more of where to pull from, like EverQuest, and which had those open
Okey-doke,
space
guess I'm
dungeons where
flying.
lots of players could go in. So we kind of pulled on that thread a little bit, and then we also looked at, in terms of like map layout designs.
Oh,
We were
okay.
pulling from like Guild Wars 2 and things, where we looked at how they laid out their dungeons, the branches and the way to move players around the space. So we did pull from, existing and old MMOs,
Lessons.
but at the same time,
You're not talking about floor plans. You're talking lessons.
no, sorry, yeah, I should clarify. Lessons, yes.
You're going to get a
Certainly
lawyer
lessons.
busting
No.
through my door here in 5 minutes.
No, we certainly have our unique
I did this
plans.
already.
Yes, the lessons we pulled from these and our experiences playing them as to what we could apply to what we were doing. And yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that said, if you want to build Karazhan and Star Citizen, I'm all for it. Let's fight Little Red Riding Hood. Let's do it.
I mean, we already have ghosts, so yeah, why not have Karazhans?
all right.
You only have to talk to everybody.
I mean, pretty much what John said, right? It's like we need to. We are building something that we think is fun in the first
It's
iteration.
possible that
and,
I'm
like,
getting in
also,
trouble
like, as we are, like, being
because
with
I've
it,
got some
on
illegal
our
stuff on
players
my
as well.
ship.
And we build
For
something that
instance,
I think fits the game a lot.
let's see.
But obviously, we need to
What was
find
it?
out like. We want to know about the
Oh, I may
player
have taken them
experience
off.
and see their reactions.
Now that I
and
think
what they
about it,
like and what they
maybe
don't
on my
like about
base.
it, so we can refine.
Oh no.
The
I'm out of
existing ones,
fuel.
and we can make the new ones we're working on like even better and so on. It's like I think with all the great games, right? It's like they're building something and then see what the players like in particular for like their game bubble, and then trying to make that better.
That's a great point. We're in a position that other games don't get. We don't have to, and this will upset certain people and a certain selection of people, and that's okay. It's the truth, and if it upsets, it upsets. We don't have to figure every single thing out ahead of time. Because we run a live environment in the middle of our development, we can afford to test. We can afford to put a thing out there and try it, and instead of assuming that people will react this and assuming people will react like that and assuming people will like this and assuming people will hate that, instead of assuming, we can actually put these things out there and test them and get actual feedback. Okay, so that wasn't as bad as we thought it was, so there's something there. This didn't work the way that we thought it was, so we can move away from that. And that's been a hallmark of Star Citizen's development since the PU began in 2015. So we have this double-edged sword that definitely cuts both ways, where we can use the virtue of our live environment in the middle of our development to test certain things that other games might not even ever attempt. But at the same time, it means that there are a lot of decisions that sometimes come out, and there are plenty of players who are scratching their heads and they're like, that was never gonna work and whatnot. It's like, and that's certainly an opinion, and it might even have been the right one, but we don't have to guess. We can afford to test and try out, and that's a benefit, ultimately a benefit to our project. And I really liked your answer there, Manuel. So that was just me saying I really like your answer. Folks, that's it. Thanks for watching another episode of Star Citizen Live. What's it called? Contested Zones and Asteroid Bases. I remembered it. If you haven't already, check out yesterday's Inside Star Citizen about the pyro system and non-combat shooty gameplay stuff. Everybody's got this idea that pyro is just carnage and chaos, but it's not just. There's more stuff too. So check out ISE for
Chromatic
yesterday.
Metal.
Next week, SEO will be off. I'm gone for the entire week because it's my birthday. I'm old. ISC is we're going to be airing. I'll just be honest with you. We're going to be airing a segment that we shot more than a year and a half ago. We shot it for a last Ship Showdown and didn't use it. So we're using it this week while I'm gone. It's a retrospective look back at the amazing contributions of superstar concept artist Gavin Lottery. If you've never seen him or heard of him or whatever, I think you're going to love him. He's one of my dear favorite people that work on the project, responsible for more spacecraft and vehicles than any single human being in Star Citizen. So he's got quite a legacy there. So you can check that out if you want. And then we're back in 2 weeks, or ISC. We're going back to Pyro. We're going back to all the combat and carnage and chaos with a few new elements that you may not be suspecting. So check that out. We're going to check out Xenothreat's home turf. And that's pretty cool. Let's just say they do not clean up after themselves, which will be a surprise to no one. So for Star Citizen Live, I'm Jared. That was Ron. That was Manuel. That was John. That's David and Pete on the buttons over there. Thanks for watching. Take care. Keep an eye out on ETU for updates on 324. Voting for Ship Showdown should be underway. Be sure you vote on which ship gets whatever the prizes and stuff are this year. I should have looked it up before the show. Remember that guy earlier in the show that said this can't be live? It was too professional. Wow. Not my show.
Okay.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care. Try not to burn everything down while I'm gone for a week. Bye.
Well, there we have it. There we go. I was like, what the heck is that? Is he coming after me? Maybe. Guess let's find out. Who shoot me? Not a very good threat. Man, these storms. Is this the only planet in this solar system? That is a good question to me. Looks like it might be.
Extreme toxicity detected.
Let's see. Ooh, I got creature pellets. This is a terrible planet. Oh, wait, no, there's more. There's another planet. You're running through the woods. You're running through the woods. You hit a tree. Ooh. Man, I feel like this is Star Citizen, isn't it? Flying, having to do the... Okay, good. Hopefully I'll be able to see.
Extreme night temperature detected.
Yeah, I can see. What if this whole planet is this mountainous? Oh, there's some asteroid storm. The ship scanner doesn't seem to be doing me much good. Not gonna lie. What the heck? Oh, wow. Found a crash freighter. How quickly am I dying here? There. There it is. Fusion core. Whoa. Shit. I need to drop that. I'm gonna die. Okay. Whew. Okay, it isn't the thing that I grabbed. It's just that area. Holy shnikes. Whatever was in that cargo pod is extremely bad.
Temperature levels stabilizing.
Is it still bad? Okay, no.
detection. Falling.
Ah.
Extreme temperature detected.
I think the hypercore will actually let me get out of here.
Detection. Falling.
Chromatic metal. Jeez. I mean, I think I can make some, but now I don't think I need to. I shall return. I'm gonna go hit the restroom.
Weather warning. Incoming storm.
Oh my goodness. What has happened?
Warning. Threat detected.
Man. Oh, is that a totally different planet? Nope, I don't want to go there. Nope, I discovered that. Go to this one? Yeah. Oh, I guess I'll switch back to red shirt. Ooh. That's pretty. I don't want to hurt it. I have no idea what to do with those. I'm sure there's somewhere online I can look it up. There's anything ever at those locations where the asteroids hit. Whoa, there's someplace.
Technology recharge.
Yay, I can go places.
Units received. Units received.
not to say there's anything in here, but ooh.
Units received. Ground protection falling. Units received. Weather warning. Incoming storm. Units received. Technology recharge. Technology recharge.
Hmm. I need ferrite dust. What else did I pick up? I picked up fusion cores. I have a gnat flying around. Not the most elegant solution. I was kind of hoping to build a base or something, but I kind of need to just go do this mission. I can always come back here later, hopefully.
Warning. Threat detected.
Goodbye, threat detected. But I don't know if I went to the right place. Right back. Yep, looks like I went to the wrong one. Thought I went back to where I was, but it does not look like I did. Was it making me go to an area? Maybe that's what's happening. Maybe? Hmm. Where's it also wanting me to go? Okay, it's making me go somewhere. Really wish I could read the stupid like altimeter. Not altimeter. Although an altimeter too, but I have no idea which way's up. Okay, this has got to be down. The curve is that way. I can't tell. There we go. Looked much clearer from orbit. Ooh. Oh, jeez. Look how close I was to the ground. Planet, not the best. Bountiful planet. Intense heat bursts. I bet you that's what I'm in now. Let's wait for the storm to get by. $297 degrees. Those are some pretty good plants right there. Not kidding. Oh wow, nice. Woo, 81 degrees. Oh, I'm gonna be spending some time here. Why can't I scan them?
Units received. Units received.
I swear I said a house was nearby. Oh my goodness, these beetles are huge.
Units received.
Where'd the...
Units received. Units received. Units received.
Oh, whoa. What the?
Units received.
That looks crazy. That looks crazy. Wasn't that one of the beetles that was just here? That is crazy. Whoop. Okay. That's what it is. Okay, so I want to choose a better place than this as my base anyway, although this isn't horrendous. I just want near water. Whoa. Did I land on the thing? Interesting. I did land on the thing. Ooh. Or is that here? Yeah, that's here. Oop. Okay, like I said, I want to go get near, find a better space. Because literally when I landed, I had absolutely no idea where I was. Definitely gonna have to make some fuel here extremely very soon. Let's see. Almost there. Oh.
Units received.
Lots of sentinels. Hmm. What?
Weather warning. Incoming storm.
Superheated rainstorm. That's a steam storm. There goes the rain, or the hot. Okay, so what do I need for the... Chromatic metal still. Need copper. There was condensed copper. Wait, I have condensed copper, don't I? Activated copper. That's cool. I'm gonna have to call it here very soon. Actually, I'm gonna get out now. Let it save. I want to make a portable refiner.
Thermal protection falling.
Oh, I have to build a base computer before I can build some of the other stuff I want. So it is saved. I'll be back on tomorrow. Thank you all for tuning in. And I will see you all next time. Shit. Standing right in front of me. Man, he heard me coming from somewhere. He definitely was looking. I hope it wasn't the other. I hope it was. Oh, it was another guy. And I'm a terrible sniper, actually, too.